we ready?
Turn that shit up. You have now entered Staying on Point, powered by Digital Sucker Punch. Discussing all things business, fitness, and marketing. You're about to go on a deep dive interviewing some of the best in the business when it comes to thought leaders, entrepreneurship, and business. Buckle up, put your seatbelts on, you're in for a ride. Welcome back for another episode of Staying on Point, and today's guest is someone that I've known for quite some time now, and I'm very excited to speak to him, as we are with all of our guests, but particularly because this guy has been making moves in the silence, and now he's come to light like a phoenix. And I want to pick that brain because he has achieved some crazy stuff in the short period of time that's rearing its head. So there's a lot to drill into here. So welcome to today's guest, Dimitris Skiadas. I'm just going to pat you over, my brother. Welcome along to today. How are you, my man?
What's up, man? I'm doing great. Great to be here. Excited. You and I go way back, actually, 2016,
yeah,
I think. So, man, it's really, really exciting to be here, and thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Yeah, I mean, we do. I mean, I can account for you being one of those inspirational figures in my e-commerce journey. And, you know, we're going to touch on this as we're going to touch on many things in this interview today, this discussion, I like to say. You know, back, I think it was 2015, 16, you know, when I first saw you and you were talking Google Analytics. I probably sounded more Mexican than anything, but you know, I was like, this guy knows his numbers, and this is the stuff that I want to learn. And you know, for me at that time, you know, I think whatever I paid you, that was quite a bit of money, but I saw so much value in what you were offering that I was like, I had to connect with this guy. And you know, that was the start, one of the primary starts of my journey. So thank you very much, because you sent me on this way.
Of course, man. You know, for me, it's always a pleasure to seeing people who have started working in the beginning of the journey and see how they become. And honestly, it's really, really important, yeah, of course, to know the numbers and the strategies and all that kind of stuff. But I really do believe this is the 1% that someone needs the push to know what they don't know. Because all the other work, and I want to show you something here.
Boom, straight into it.
I just ordered this today.
Nice.
So I wanted to show you this because I just ordered and I didn't have time to hunt. So success is not only, you know, about Google Analytics or having a good Facebook ad or, you know, an Instagram influencer campaign. It's all about what we don't see. And you are one of the people that I admire the most with I work, because you took all the learnings and you put it into action, late nights, weekends, blood and tears, disappointment.
Yeah.
Like many times you wanted to quit, but the most important is that you didn't. So this is like you were the 99%, and probably I was less than 1%. But sometimes it's the 1% that not from me only, you know, someone from someone else might be the inspiration of the family or a good friend or you know, going out to the beach. But sometimes you need that 1% to take you, you know, higher. So I'm really, really excited for you, bro.
Thank you very much. And you know, I think at that time with what you helped me with, you know, I saw relatively good success. That was sort of my claim to fame for that period of time. You know, since then we've moved on. You know, we've had those trials and tribulations, as everyone does. And it was one of those things that I look back at now and I reflect on that relative success. And you know, I suppose what they say is that it takes pressure to create a diamond. And you know, though I still think I'm a diamond in the rough, I still look at stuff that you're doing and go, I've got so much more to achieve. I've got so much more to conquer. Now seeing what you're up to, and let that be a segue, you know, because we haven't spoken for so long. What are you up to these days? You know, where have you been? Not that you haven't been around, but you've been operating in the silence, and now you've just come to light. And I'd love to hear about that.
So, man, I was writing a post the other day for Facebook, and I said, you know, this is my 10th year that I'm into this industry, and I always stayed loyal to my craft. I made mistakes, of course, as we all do. In the past 10 years, I always wanted to focus 100% on how can I take a brand and scale it. And all of this time, you know, I've done a lot of public speaking events, where I travel the world and talk about the power of your numbers and especially Google Analytics, conversion rate optimization. I do one-on-one consulting and I do provide online trainings on how to scale the brand. And one of the things that always I really, really wanted to grow is, bring results to the clients. So most of the time, some of the times it was our fault, some of the times it was the client's fault. We couldn't bring the results. So I said, okay, shut your mouth up for the next 6 to 12 months, work with clients, fix all your systems and processes, and bring clients results. So right now, I'm really, really proud to announce that for the past 12 years that I have been working, we officially announced another part of the company, which is 100% dedicated agency, which is called Outperform. And overall, right now, we do spend, I cannot reveal the exact numbers, but we do manage multiple seven figures in ad spend for Facebook profitably. This is the most.
Yeah. I mean, because we could all spend that money easy. But profit. Yeah. No, go for it. By all means.
This is a humble brag. So overall, I think it doesn't matter so much that, okay, Google Premier Agency, Facebook managed agency, preferred agency, we have direct access, yada. I think the most important thing is that we want to create like win-win deals. And the most of all, I would say that we work is our mindset. Like literally, we had a client that blew up inside the coronavirus. Like he made more money, close to $6.9 million inside from April 1st till May 18th, and that it hadn't made the previous year. So,
is that $3 million screenshot that I see?
Yeah.
That, hang on, right? 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. Just popped up on screen. That's a 3. You might not be able to see this, but I've got that on an overlay. So that's a $3 million screenshot from 1st of May to the 18th of May. Now that's some heavy duty dollars right there. Can you dive into how you achieve that? As much as you can divulge, what's the business model? What's the mentality? What's the strategy behind that? Because that's a lot of moving parts to be able to execute those type of numbers.
Absolutely. So I would say that, believe it or not, I think that the most important part of the strategy is the mindset. It's the mindset.
How did I know you were going to say that?
Is the mindset that we can achieve, and honestly, that we had to work a lot on that. That we need to believe. You cannot take a client easily that may be doing $3 million per year to make that in revenue, of course, not profit, but take that and make that in 18 days. So we said, okay, we are going to try things that we didn't try before. So I would say mindset is number one thing. And if we want to get a little bit more technical, this is a mix of Facebook and Instagram ads, which is 80%, around 80% on the revenue and 20% on Google AdWords and YouTube ads and heavy retargeting. We have tried a few other things like email marketing, but overall, we want to keep the goal with that is to have a lot of people that come back and purchase.
Sure.
Because this one, I don't want to always keep spending money for cold traffic. I want to make the people buy more, make them, from awareness to take a decision, then buy and then become intention and then become loyal. So overall, we focused a lot on that strategy, bring them back, win them back. By the way, this is an e-commerce brand that does, they have their own fulfillment in the United States. These come all from China, but overall, they have the fulfillment on point, which I would say this is the most important thing. Along with mindset, I think that Facebook ads is not going to be the biggest problem you have after you start.
Oh, no.
The biggest problem you're going to have is like having so many people sending you emails or calling you. Like it's not a fun process when you have like so many thousands emails to answer and your customer support goes heavy. It's not a fun process when you have like inventory issues. So there are many things that, it goes out of the, we're just sending traffic with Facebook ads or YouTube ads. Like, okay, we're sending traffic, we're scaling, but what happens on the back end is really more important because when you have angry customers, It's not fun. What else? This is an adult drinkware.
Adult drinkware.
Drinkware, yeah, specific cases that people are using for, wine and keeping the beer cold.
Yeah. Okay, yep.
They have their own brands. Honestly, when I first saw that, I was like, what is that, man? You take a glass of water and you drink, and you take a glass and you drink your wine. Well, why do you need that? And then I understand that, like, for everything, you have to open your mindset and see the bigger picture. Like,
sure.
You need to understand that where is the market. And I think that the biggest thing that I personally learned, it doesn't matter what I think about the product. It doesn't matter if you are the best in Facebook ads or not. If you have something that people want, the product, the offer, and how you place it in front of, leads, potential customers, I think the positioning, the creatives, these are the most important things. When you start, you say, okay, Facebook ads, let me put, website conversion, blah, 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 scale, win. Like, I think that it comes after being 10 years in the industry now. I know that there are things that are more important.
Sure. Listen, there's so much that I want to dive into that you've just said there. I could break that down into so many different segments, but let's start off with the mindset stuff, because I'm a firm believer, mindset before skill set. You need to get your mind right before you can execute. So, you've adopted that mindset to be able to execute and to get where you are right now. What sort of shifts have you introduced into your own behavior and your own thought process and the way that you approach things or even think about things to be able to, execute what you're doing now? Because this is a whole nother level from what I've spoken to before in the old Dimitris, you're operating at a higher frequency. So, what was the shift? What contributed to this different mindset to be able to execute at this level?
I would say easily, like all the thoughts that you do during the day. Yeah, of course, I have a set time where I like to read my book, like for 5, 10, 20 pages every single day when it comes to mindset. But overall, and it might sound a little bit cheesy and a little bit funny, but
Bring it on.
The thoughts that you make inside your mind, they're not necessarily true. Just because you make a thought, okay, and it comes to your mind, it doesn't, like, back in the day, what it came to mind, I thought that it was true. To give you an example. So I like watching documentaries for prisons. I was a huge fan of Prison Break, etc. So eventually, when you start looking at all these documentaries, eventually I started thinking, man, how would it be? I started bringing bad thoughts. Like, how would it be if I was locked up in that? Like, it would be frightening. But then, because you start watching a lot of them, you see which one is called Locked Up, like the documentary. It shows people inside their cell. And when you see it and you get excited, then you start imagining yourself in that. And you say, dude, I didn't do something bad. Like, I'm a good person. Like, I will never end up there. So back in the day, I choose not to entertain that thought. And I choose to entertain thoughts only that serve me. And to give you a more relevant example into what we do, like a couple of weeks back, something in the business that we run, it wasn't working. I started feeling disappointed, because people see the $3 million or whatever screenshot, but they cannot see behind all the disappointment or the things that you're saying to yourself. And I started talking to myself negatively, and I started thinking, man, you're such a loser. Man, like, you don't deserve this. Man, like, why can't you make this work? So I started talking negatively to myself, and I started attracting all the bullshit from the outside. And immediately I stopped, and I said, no, I'm better than this. Even if you are not where you want to be, like, it's sometimes where they say, fake it till you make it inside your mind. So I'm saying, no, I'm the greatest. No, I will do great things. No, I help my clients. No, yes, we make profit. Yes, I run a super successful business. Even if it's not 100% true, like, your mind cannot tell the difference.
Sure.
I wanted to say that this is one of the books, The Magic of Thinking Big, about David Schwartz. It was written back in 1959, 60 years ago, more than 60 years ago. And it's amazing how relevant that is till today. Because, strategies and techniques might change, but mindset can only grow from there. So I highly, highly recommend. I know I have, if any Greek person watching, is the exact same book in Greek. So this book has really, really affected me positively.
Fantastic. Yeah. I haven't actually read that book, but I've read a lot of mindset books, a lot of books that sort of, reinforce that positive behavior. And what you've just mentioned before is just plain and simple, what we call putting things into a positive tense. You could either say, I can't have this, or I am achieving this, or I'm going to achieve this and get this. And all that doing is reinforcing that positive thought process. And something you said before, and I like to call this like the Google relay, because whatever your conscious mind says, your subconscious mind is only going to reinforce that multiplied. So if your conscious mind is, you wake up and you look in the mirror and go, oh, you look like shit today, your subconscious is only going to reinforce that multiplied. But conversely, if you wake up and go, hey, I look fantastic, I feel great, your subconscious is going to reinforce that too. And that works in every aspect of your life, whether it be personal, business, relationships, spiritual, whatever it may be. The mind is a powerful thing. And, this is why I wanted to dive into that, because I'm a firm believer in mindset before skill set. And it looks like this now is like, part of your ritual to implement these types of tactics. I wouldn't even say tactics. I'd say habits. Habits is probably the best word for it. So that's a book you swear by?
Oh yeah, man. Like I read it like 3 times already. Every time, and I still want to revisit it because especially when I'm down, it reinforces all the positivity and all the good things that we have inside. Because it's really impossible to be motivated and up and running and feeling in a great mood like 24/7. We are human beings, and because this is a chat interview, other people will see, it's impossible to do that. I don't like to fake it that much. Like this. Hey. There are times that are, tough, but overall, I always like to reinforce the statement that, our time in this life is, we come and go. So personally for me, like my vision is to leave a legacy behind, and honestly, for me, it's not so much about the money. Yes, money is good. It's going to continue growing, but it makes me more happy. And I say that with 100% honesty and with my hand in my heart. It gives me much more happiness when someone tells me, even if they have like small wins, people that they just watched the free training or they came to one of the events I was speaking and they said, dude, because of you, I made my first $100 day. For someone it's important. Someone told me back a year ago at an event in Morocco where, I live in Greece. We are a third world country basically as well. So he said, dude, because of you, I was able to live from my parents' house and now I have my own apartment. That it's small, it's a two bedroom apartment, but I did it because of you. Or someone else told me, hey, dude, I made like $2,000 profit. I didn't have a car. And, because of you, I bought a car with $2,000, all car. It doesn't matter. For some people, what we take as given, like food, clothing, money in our pocket, it drives me crazy that there are people out there in the world that they have to look every day to find something to eat or to drink clean water. And, I might not be able to help all 7 billion people in the world, but if I can change 1 million lives for the rest of my life, I will be more than happy. And the last thing I want to say for that is I read a book from, I don't remember the name, but it was, Robin Sharma. It said, it was called, Who Will Cry When You Die? Like how many people are you going to affect in your life, in the course of your life, and how many people are going to come when you die at your funeral? This is something that I read even before I was full-time on marketing, and it really affected me 6 years ago.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'd like to read that. That'd make me think too deeply, too philosophically, because that's some hard-hitting sort of internalized questioning that you'd be answering there if you read that book. I could only imagine. Someone actually asked me this question, and I won't answer in this because this is about you, but someone asked me before, what do you want your legacy to be? And I was stumped. I was like, That's a tough question because it's not really about me, but in the same token, I would like to be able to do something that would continue on and affect and, give value and contribute to, whoever I've, come across with over my time. So, that's deep. That's deep, D. That's deep. And just on that note as well, I'm going to add my little bit to, giving you thanks and giving you homage to, what you do. I still remember on our call when we first jumped on, many, many years ago, and I had my brand at the time. And I think, I was starting to see my first sort of 40K months or something like that. And I was like, $40,000, that's my dad earned per year. That's his wage per year. And we just earned that in a month in revenue. So I was freaking out going, this is phenomenal. And then you're looking over the numbers and you said to me, you go, Dave, you could make this a $2 million business. And I was like, $2 million, like those numbers didn't even comprehend. I couldn't compute. And it was at that point that I was like, I've got to level up. I've got to change my mindset because those numbers are achievable. And, that's when it sort of things switched and turned up and then we grew from there. So that's my thank you to you.
Pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure when I see people actually execute because majority of the people don't. The sad truth is that.
So, okay, moving on from the last chunk of knowledge that you dropped before telling about your business. Now, we talked about mindset. Now, you talked about one of the other biggest challenges when it comes to, operating a business at these big numbers is logistics. You said this is one of the biggest. No, I've had a lot of experience in logistics, good times, bad times, and everywhere in between. So let me ask you, with this particular business and that type of volume, I could only assume that you're starting to talk 20, 40-foot containers, or you're still doing everything by air? How is that working around this period of time?
So overall, this is not a process that we control 100% because this is being done by the client. But overall, we are talking about both methods actually. But basically, when you're doing these large volumes, you need to be able to have your fulfillment in place. So overall, when you're doing these big numbers, you start seeing that the profit comes basically from the volume that you do. So then you start negotiating and have a ton of different shipping agents. Yeah. Overall, that you can take offers and it's really important in what stage you are at scaling. Because if you have a backlog of thousands of orders, you say, okay, maybe this time I don't want to wait for the really, really big shipment that will come with the container. Maybe I will go ahead and take the airplane, which is going to come here in 4 or 5 days or whatever that is. Basically, the biggest problem in that we see is the customs. Customs are a pain in the butt. I also have experience.
Absolute asshole. I've got a story about customs, a recent story, but anyway, this is your platform. Go for it, buddy.
Don't worry. I don't agree. This is a normal conversation, but overall, I have really bad experiences with customs. I had people even on a local store that we run here in Greece. I had the stuff arrive from China to Germany and Germany to Greece in 4 days.
Wow.
Okay, so they left on Thursday and they arrived Monday morning. They were here. So I'm okay, because I'm paying more money because I want to get my stuff earlier. Mm-hmm. And then you see the Greek customs for 10 days. Oh, sir, we have a huge backlog. And I'm there's nothing you can do. Actually, there are things you can do, but there are, under the table.
Yeah. What happens in Greece stays in Greece.
Yeah.
So, I probably pre-framed that question incorrectly purely for the fact that I was under the mindset thinking that was your business, but you're doing the front end marketing for it. And so I understood that. No problems. But logistics is an absolute nightmare. And I think that's where a lot of businesses come unstuck when they start to come to scale, because that whole supply chain from the manufacturer to the warehouse, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. And depending if you're doing air freight or if you're doing sea freight, and then dealing with brokers and dealing with custom agents and dealing with, fumigation or legislation or whatever it may be, there's issues. I remember with our last business, we had 10,000 units of one of our products, and we changed the packaging design, and we had gone through QA, quality assurance for all the packaging design. But because of how the image and the barcode pushed down, it actually pushed out the made in China. And no one picked up on it. Not even our manufacturers dropped on it. So this unit, 10,000 units got sent to a warehouse in Jacksonville, Florida. And they got to the docks there and the custom brokers, and they're just like, we can't release these. They don't have the stamp of origin on there. And we're like, what the fuck? And what we had to do is send someone from our fulfillment service over to the customs agent, and they had to manually stick on 10,000 made in China stickers just so that they would release it to our fulfillment service. And like, I mean, it was out of my control. I had to beg and plead someone over there, pay them, I think it was like $25 US an hour to do this. It took nearly a week, so it costed thousands of dollars on top of what we already just to release it. And I was just like, that was one point in my time life where I was crying, and I just like, I hate custom agents, so I feel for you, and like I'm only too well familiar with dealing with challenges when it comes to custom agents, importing, logistics, all that sort of stuff. But what you've done there is at a whole nother level. They're big numbers.
Man, what I think is really, really important when you are at this level is to have like a good communication through all departments. Like, imagine that there are companies, even in Greek, I used to work for a really, the biggest retailer in Greece called Plesio. Like they do like $100 million per year or something like that. Like they have people in every step. Like they have people in China. They have like to do the quality assurance, because sometimes you have barriers that it can be like language barriers, it can be, communication barriers, and it's really, really important to always keep investing. And I won't pretend that I know everything, but I'm constantly keep learning, and it's a great learning experience when you get your hands dirty. I learned really more, although in the Greek store that we don't do like huge levels. But overall, I learned the experience from zero, and what to have, like now I know about imports, I know about VAT in Europe, I know about cash on delivery because we have a lot of cash on delivery here, I know about shipping fees, I know about customs, I know about Greek customs, that's important. So, I like that. So overall, it's really nice when you're just scaling, not looking at the bigger picture, looking at the 30,000 feet overview view, and looking from that view is to understand, okay, where is the leak? Like, what can I do in order to improve? And always, and thank God that this client that we're working is an absolute beast. But overall, there are people that they don't really listen to you. You tell him, hey, you might need to do this because of this, and this is why, blah, blah, blah. And, some people, they are like really narrow-minded. So it's really, really important, because this client will have like an amazing communication. It's really, really important to build the trust.
Sure.
To build the trust that, okay, it's not that they bring you the money, okay, or food to the table. It's like we are trying to have something bigger, and we want to understand like what's the vision behind it. Like some people, it seems scary to make these big numbers. This is why I'm saying this is all in terms of mindset.
100%. And, something you just touched on there is, I think, something that we practice that, with our clients, when we work with them, we're not just an agency that manages their front-end marketing. We're a part of their business, essentially. We're an extension of their business. We treat their business like it's our own. It's like our baby, because, their success is our success. And I think that's the best way to go about it. So let me dive into that a little bit more. How did this agency come about? I know that your background's Google Analytics. I believe you worked with Google before. Back in the day, you did your masterminds. I went to your first Greek mastermind. That was phenomenal in Santorini. Good times. You've done your masterminds. You've done your own stores. I know you did a cash on delivery thing as well, which you got some good success out of it. And then just out of nowhere, I'm seeing this agency's popped up. So let me ask you, how did that come about? What was the motivation behind that? And then two, how do you go about getting these big clients? These are big, like I'm the first to say, I don't have clients that spend this type of money or we make this type of money for, so is it all a relationship thing, or, dive in, tell me.
Yeah, of course. So I think it all comes down exactly to what you said. It all comes down to relationship. So I'm not alone, first of all. Okay, in the agency, I have like a really good team and partners on the back, because they say that if you wanna go quickly, if you're gonna go fast, go alone. If you're gonna go far, go with a team. So overall, I always wanted to be the leader in my company. I wanted to take all the shots, and I still do, and that's a good thing. But overall, I understand that my business up till 2018 would hit like a certain level. Okay, I couldn't scale. I couldn't scale after that, or if I could scale, the profits would not be the same. As I said, I made a lot of mistakes. So I realized that I want to work with people that I know, like, and trust. And this is the same with customers. So right now, the whole team is the exact same team that we used to be back in 2013.
Wow.
That I would work in the agency, especially with Adonis, which is, we are all Greek, by the way, and we are all in the same Greek power, and we all live in Athens, in the same city.
Nice.
So Adonis and I used to work together, and then the other guys were different departments and a little bit different updates, but it's really important to have someone that you like and trust, and you can work together. So Adonis actually was my supervisor. So all the things that I learned from him was like it's what was I was able to take all the things that he taught me and go out to the world and say about Google Analytics. Adonis is the kind of person that if you go to his Facebook or Instagram, maybe his last post is from 5 years ago. The person that doesn't like
I know the type.
Public, so no social media. Like, who is that guy? And the guy is a beast. And so this is Adonis. The other guy, Michael. I know him for years. He actually was working as a freelancer on the side, so he had like a really big Upwork account, and because he was doing like really good results, started working, getting a lot of referrals, etc. So overall, we said a year back, maybe a little bit more, we said, okay, let's start working together. Let's keep this under the radar, because we started working, with a few small clients. This client that you see right here with the adult drinkware, we literally took him in, I don't remember the exact date, but it was like he was making 15-20K per month. And we literally had to build up, literally from zero. So it's one part that we took advantage of that. And then from people, mainly on referrals. And then when we started scaling really hard, I started working more with Facebook, with Google, and have, the premier badges, and that we are as an agency that we have all the certificates. We said, okay, let's launch it publicly. And for me, the most important things are relationships. So the moment that I said I came about with the case study, like my calendar started blowing up again. So you always need to be on top of things. And one of the things that makes me really proud and happy is that when I take the time to do the calls and I talk with customers, the people say that, man, I trust you. I trust you. I trust. I have like this saying where I say, trust the beer, because I want to be in this business for the next 30, 40, 50 years. I'm not here for some quick to grab some cash and go. Like, I want to be in this business, and I am in this business for 10 years. So when someone tells me I trust you, I'm like, okay, man, all these things that I've been building for the past years and the value I shared, sometimes it's not about so much making money. There are times that I wasn't making money. There are times that I was losing money. I had to take money outside of the bank to cover my bills and expenses. But I kept going, because right now, literally in the past like 3 days that I did that post, we have 2 new clients paid already, and we started the onboarding. And I said, okay, you see what? Finally, it's paying off. So it's more about, for me, if I had to say a strategy for other agency owners, something that works is being consistent out with your message, and consistent with the value that you put out to the world. I won't lie, I don't do it consistently either. I want to become better at it. But overall, consistency can be in private messages, or consistency can be in a small post, or in a Facebook group that you help someone, or someone that you go at an event. And man, this is really the really crazy to my eyes at least. Like I go to Morocco. In Morocco, like I feel like I'm Gary Vee. I don't know, like someone huge. Like, because when I finish, like they are so excited to learn, they are so eager to learn and shit like that. So I spoke twice in front of 1,000 people each time, like so 2,000 people. And the moment I tried to leave, man, they grabbed me for like 1 or 2 hours. And I don't want to say, and it really makes me so fucking happy. And like I'm the center of attention. Like people value me, people, they want to hear from me. They might not become customers. And I don't care about that. But overall, these are the success stories. Like, we have big success stories, but I'm genuinely more happy about the small success stories.
So I can see that. So in terms of your role within the agency at this point in time, are you more of an account manager role? Are you a strategist? What's your part to play in all of this?
So I always like to focus where I'm good at. So, and this is the good thing. Honestly, I consider myself that I'm really, really good with Facebook ads, but I don't like the day-to-day. I don't like going, changing this strategy or increasing the budget, or I don't like the micromanagement. And why don't I like? Because I did it for so long, for 7-8 years in the agency, that I want to be able to look at the bigger picture. So my expertise in that is like customer acquisition, basically being responsible, for content, talking with leads and potential customers. And I'm more responsible about the Google Analytics, the scaling part. So I will deep dive. I will see where we can find, where is the leak in the funnel, where we can see improvement. But overall, I have an overview, an overall strategy. Like I might not be looking every day the Facebook ads, but I know exactly what we're doing.
Certainly.
But I mean like the bigger picture, because I see opportunities everywhere. Like, for example, I even wrote in my post, like people see Google Analytics and they get dizzy. Like I see Google Analytics, and Google Analytics is not sexy, but I always say making money is sexy. So I see Google Analytics and I always see opportunity. Okay, what can I do in order to improve my average order value and to increase my conversion rate and to decrease my site speed? So, and basically because pretty much very, very, very few people in this world like to get involved with that, this is how I was able to make my name and talk to stages and have all these success stories. Because, I'm Greek, I have the beard, I pronounce it a little bit like Google Analytics. So I think that all that played a role.
So doing what's not sexy is what got your fame. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So besides the agency, have you got your own ventures? Are you still pushing your own products, brands, stores? Have you got anything like that just to keep your finger on the pulse? But also, we all love the hustle. I don't think that's ever going to die. So have you still got your own stores on the side?
Yeah, we do. So we basically run a Greek store here locally to keep things busy. It's not like the crazy amounts of money or revenue, but it's more important because for me, it has a lot to do with the customer service. Mm. So, for example, what I mean, like literally like a month ago, and I also made a post about that on Facebook, I noticed this abandoned cart here for the local store. And you see, we have the abandoned cards, and here phone number is important. Okay, we don't care so much about the mail. We do care, but the phone number is more important for us, so we can see the people. So I said, okay, we have like 10 abandoned cards. What can I do about that? Okay, let's get my hands dirty, and I actually called them myself. So from the 10 people, I don't remember exactly like what it was. Like one person said, "Oh, please call me back." I called him back. He didn't pick up. One person said, "Oh, I have no idea. My mom did it, and I have no idea." I called her back. She didn't pick up. One person said, "Yeah, I was ready to make the purchase, but I regret it at the last time." One person said, "Yeah, I was on my mobile and I was out on the street when that happened, so I wanted to complete the order. I will do it when I go home." And actually, I had 4 people. And I saved like not a big amount, like something like $220, $230 something like that. We said, oh yeah, I tried to make the purchase, but it didn't let me finish the checkout. I'm like, what? Okay, so let me see. And then we realized that we had a small issue when people came from mobile phone with Safari as a browser. Something that I didn't notice. I had no idea. So we had our developer fix the issue, and then I saved like $220 worth of orders on that day. Okay, was it a lot? No. Was it a lot of profit? No. What did I learn? A lot. So,
and what did you potentially save as well moving forward? You know, you may not have identified that for long time down the track where you would have lost a lot more money too. So, yeah, that's unreal. And what prompted you to think, hey, listen, I'm going to get on the call and call these guys? You know,
Man, I always have this bug in me. I always have I don't want to change as a person. The very first thing I told my wife back in the day, like 5 years ago, when I started, sharing and started hitting stages and making the mastermind, I don't want to change. I want to become the same humble guy that I became. To give you an example, there are people that we go ahead and speak at events that they go ahead and they are locked up in their rooms. They don't want to speak. They don't want to talk to people. Or people come and say, "Can I have a photograph with you?" Okay, and people say, "Sorry, not now. I'm busy." Okay, I would never do that because, and I get that as my example as Gary V. And I know that's a long story to answer your question, but I'll get to that. So, Gary V. I met Gary V. back in 2016, and man, he had just arrived in the airport. It was for Traffic and Conversion Summit in San Diego 4 years ago. And he had a line of 40 people waiting for him. He just arrived from the airport, out of the taxi. And he took the time to respond, to talk with every single person, because I left and I came back after, 20, 30 minutes, and he was still there. He wasn't looking at his phone through the entire time. Okay, he was looking at you directly in the eyes, and he really, really gave focus in what you had to say. So I said, if Gary V, which has done, millions of things, multimillionaire, owns agencies, he's an influencer and stuff like that. He has 2 minutes to talk to every single person and spend an hour or so talking to these people and be so humble, looking you straight at the face. So can you. So I like to remain humble, and I like to go to get my hands dirty in order to understand what works. Because when I understand it better, I could say, okay, please do that. Do that to outsource a VA or a team member. Okay, if I don't understand how that works, how can I outsource it to a team member?
True,
so
very true.
This is always why I'm always on the edge of learning things. Some people say, okay, I'm too big for that. No, I'm never too big. If Gary V can go ahead and give you attention, or go ahead and micromanage, not go crazy on the micromanage, but go ahead and micromanage something or see with your own eyes, so can I.
Man, I couldn't agree more. And so that's what you live by. So you're still signing autographs and kissing babies and shaking hands after events.
Oh, but it's all about the selfie photos and advice about scaling and analytics and stuff like that. No, I didn't have any luck with babies or autographs, but it's always a pleasure. Either it's one person or it's 100. It's always a great feeling to know that you go to help one person. If I can help one person, then I can help the second one, and then goes on to go to reach my big goal of helping 1 million people over how many years I live.
Sure. Hey, let's geek out for a little bit. Tell me what sort of tech stack's exciting you at the moment? What do you implement into your businesses technology wise? Are you more of a meat and potatoes kind of guy, keeping it stock standard? Shopify, basic maybe back end upsells, Klaviyo, Google Analytics, Facebook, Google Ads, and keeping it stock standard, or you've got a few little tricks up your sleeve? What at the moment gets you really excited with the tech stack that you use or you implement?
Man, I gotta be honest with you. Every time that I try, I love learning new things and I love discovering and implementing new things. But overall, after a while, I realized that marketing needs to be simple. people think that with Facebook ads, for example, people think that it's something that they're missing and there is a little tiny technique, strategy, manual bidding or lookalike. Bullshit.
Creative.
Bullshit. This is the creative is the only thing that the algorithm cannot manage, cannot handle.
I agree with you 100%. 100%.
Overall, we do try a few things. We do have like some apps that they can work wonders, but I always like to stick to the basics. And let me give you an example. Even when I look at a store and I want to increase the revenue, or even when I want to look at my own business, like as an agency, information marketing business, or consulting, I would go back to the basics. So I was literally reading something from Frank Kern in order, for how to stack up an offer, and it was from 2015, I think, or 14. Man, I didn't read a single thing that didn't make any sense, because if you get to apply that, it still works to this day. For example, people say with email marketing, okay, we know that Clavayo is a beast and you can do like millions of things inside and custom sequences and send an email to people who haven't bought from you for the past 90 days, etc., etc. What is more important than the tech, though? Yes, Clavayo is really, really important and we do use it. What is more important? The message. The message and the offer. So I always like to stick back to the basics and see how can I make my offers better. It's not about the strategy. It's always about the product, the offer, and overall, when you try to look, we look at the channels differently because we run like Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube. We even try like a few things with Pinterest ads right now and Snapchat ads, and it's a whole new level for me. I'm not familiar with Snapchat.
We do Snapchat. We do Snapchat. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, it gets me excited, but I need to take the time to understand. So overall, I always like to look at the bigger picture, and because I'm a numbers guy, I always like to look at the numbers. Where can I increase my profits? Where is the leak in the funnel? What can I do? Exactly. We are circling back to the question that we had before. Like, how can I increase my conversion rate? How can I increase my average order value? Like, especially when we're talking about conversion rate optimization in Google Analytics, because this is my craft. This is what I've been doing for the past 10 years. Going back, you see that I don't have to spend any extra money on advertising if I can improve my conversion rate even a tiny bit, from 2% to 2.2. In that large scale, when you do like 200,000 per day, it's huge.
Massive. So you're meat and potatoes, guys, when it comes to your marketing, which I like. I dig, because I'm a firm believer, again, I'm a firm believer of many things, but it comes down to fundamentals and not hacks, not tactics. It's the fundamentals. It's the fundamentals that work. That's the stuff that stands the test of time. That's why you can pick up a book from Frank Kern from years ago and it's still relative today. That's why you can pick up, Eugene Schwartz's, advertising book and read it and it's still applicable today for copywriting. Those fundamentals is what it's all about. Hacks come and go. People get excited about them because they're, shiny object syndrome and they want to find an easier way to do it, but that's short-lived. It's the basics. And that's what I refer to when I say meat and potatoes. It's like the meat and 3 veg on your plate. It's there. We've grown up eating it and it's boring, but it does the job, so.
I agree, man. I agree.
So let me ask you, where to next? I mean, obviously, you're laying a foundation for something that is phenomenal. Where do you see yourself going over the next few years? What do you want to be doing? What excites you outside of the business world? Obviously, one of the things is being, entrepreneurial minded and always being deep down in it, that, quite often you don't take that time out to think about yourself and think about, what else you can do outside the business world. Now, I remember you said previous just to this call that, you're spending 20 minutes a day exercising and, putting effort back into yourself, with all this is going on with your agency and your other, ventures, are you having time to, work on yourself and bring yourself joy and spend time with the family and do all that sort of stuff?
Man, I don't want to lie. Like there are times that it becomes really, really tough. Like literally, because I have a small girl, she's gonna be 4 years old this summer. On August, like there are 3 days in a row that I didn't get to see her at all, and that hurts. That hurts because for me, family, someone else. When you don't have a kid, you cannot understand. I couldn't understand it either. But I know that you have a daughter as well. I have a daughter. It doesn't matter, daughter or son. Like when you have a child, it changes all your mentality. So for the past 3 days, I was working like crazy, but I always try to have at least 1 hour with her, like to come back home early, to have at least 1 hour with him. And on weekends, that's a rule for me, especially on Sunday. I never open my computer. I don't want to do anything. And on Saturday, but let's say Saturday, maybe I have to do a few overview. Like Sunday is the blessed day. Sunday is the blessed day only for family and friends. Regards to the workout, man, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me, or I made it happen. I put it on my calendar, 20 minutes every single day. Like I have this task, optimize this, or talk with this lead, or do whatever, write a post. Okay, I have this on my calendar. 20-minute workout. I go outside here on my office in the sun, and without no equipment, I have just a rope, a few push-ups, a few pull-ups, nothing crazy. It's more about getting you into the habit. And why is that? I was never that kind of person. I would start on a gym, I would go for 1 month, and I would hate it. I don't like the gym. I don't like go ahead running. But I started gaining weight. I started looking, medical exams. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You're not 80 years old. You're 36. So I said, we need to take care of ourselves. So I have for over a year now that, oh no, sorry, it's a lie. Since October now that I'm going to a nutritionist every 2 weeks, even with the ups and downs, I'm still on a very big, so I've lost overall 8 kilos right now. So
I can
16 pounds.
I can see under the beard. It's like the chin's a bit more chiseled.
Yeah. So I can see the change in my body, and my goal is not to be ripped or something like that, but my goal is to be able to be better, have more energy. And I see it, the moment I hit outside, even for 20 minutes every single day, and that's a mindset thing. There are many times that I said, fuck, I hate it, I don't want to do it. No, I'll go. I hate myself when I'm doing it, but when I'm finished, I said, okay, good job. So go.
No. I was just gonna say that's always the way. Everything's hard before it's easy. But it's and as you mentioned before with business as well, it's just the consistency. Small, consistent efforts over a long period of time is what yields the results. And that's something I live by. Small, consistent efforts over a long period of time yields the results. And even though you're just doing 20 minutes a day, that's that's going to impact you physically, emotionally, mentally, everything, and put you in alignment. So, good to hear that, man, because I still remember years ago, we were at Santorini Mastermind, we were drinking. I was drunk half the time, so I don't remember, but there was a lot of booze there. But, we were talking about exercise, and you were adamant, I don't exercise. No, that's not my thing. So the fact that you've introduced that into your life, and that is a big part of my life, I'm happy for you that, you've brought that into your life, because it makes a difference. It does.
It does huge, bro. And honestly, I've seen it. And, I'm not proud to say that it took me so many years. It took me 36 years to understand. But it's better late than ever. And, I have 4 basic pillars that I want to execute every single day. So not necessarily in order, but basic pillar number 1, let's say go outside, get some sweat, even 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, it doesn't matter. Keep your energy going. Thing number 1. Thing number 2, have at least some time for the family. This is why we do it. This is how we do it. If someone told me right now, hey, would you like to make double the money you are making right now, but you'll never see your family again, I would say, fuck it. No, I don't want to do that. I want to see my daughter growing, and I want to do all that really, really excite me. Thing number 3, mindset. Okay, work on your mindset. Read a book, listen to a podcast, listen something that is going to help you progress. Either it's going to be for mindset or for work. I highly recommend it's going to be for mindset. So this is why I always like to keep the books right in here, because even on a break, short break, 5 pages, 2 pages, 10 pages, doesn't matter. I always like to keep it. And number 4, make money, help people, hear your clients, share your words. So I have an actual, I don't know if I have it here, but I have an actual spreadsheet. I have an actual spreadsheet that it has like an actual cross. So whenever I do one of the 4 basic pillars every single day, I have a tick. When I go back to this one and I see that I didn't get a tick, I'm like, man, you have to push harder. I'm not going to pretend that I always get ticks in everything. So you see, the last 3 days I didn't get a tick on the family, but always this is something that keeps me really, really balanced. And this is something that I learned because I always like to give credit as well from Sean Wallen. Like, I don't remember exactly how he said that process, but if you read his book, he's really, really amazing.
And that's your attempt of bringing back in that balance, or keeping you accountable for those 4 pillars to ensure that you're looking after your health, your family, your business. I can't remember the other pillar. And your mindset. And your mindset. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. That's good. And a lot of it does come back down to accountability. And I think that your little tick and flick box on your spreadsheet is a good way of doing it.
Yep, it is.
So, I mean, being conscious of time, I've got a few more things I just want to throw at you. But moving forward, business-wise, what's on the near future for you? Mid-term, long-term? Where do you want to take things?
So for me, it's about keep serving. Like, we all in business to make money, of course. But for me, it's all about serving, first of all, the people that we have already. Because it doesn't matter. Like, it really, really hurts me. And that happens a lot with courses. Like, people buy a course, they get excited, and then they end up doing nothing with it. And this is really, really saddens me, because it makes me sad, because I know that the information, and I'm not saying that to brag or something like that, or to praise my beard, but I know that what I'm teaching, I know what I teach. I know that what I teach works. So people get excited, and you have like 100 people buying an online training. Okay, I still get the money, but I want to feel that I deserve the money. When someone doesn't go through the training or goes and doesn't apply, that really hurts me. And obviously from 10 people, from 100 people, 90 people are not going to do anything with it. That's the sad truth. And from the 10 people who are going to execute, actually maybe 1 or 2 will be successful. So my goal is to actually try to change that. Try to change that and be more present, be actively, on more coaching calls, offer more to people. So this is a part number 1. Part number 2 is I want to bring more people, not necessarily into what I do. For me, it's really, really important to understand that people are capable of great things. And if I can do that and at the same time grow my business and make money, of course. So for me, because I used to be the kind of person who I was working a 9 to 5 and I was miserable. I wasn't happy at all. So if I can take people inside to see that, man, in 2015, like literally 5 years ago, I was working a 9 to 5. I was hating my job. I was miserable and unhappy. And in the past 5 years, I've done 6 high-ticket masterminds events in Greece, and all of them were sold out. I'm preparing the 7th one, but coronavirus got us for May, so I'm doing it on September. Anyway, I've hit over 20 stages in 15 different countries, speaking in front of 10,000 plus people. I've helped more than 130 people consulting to scale their business. I've sold more than, 800-900 copies of my training courses. I've helped 30-40 customers in the agency in the past, people that come and go. That's 30-40 people scale their businesses, or at least see the bigger picture. When you understand that, or the most important of all, because this is not the most important, the most important of all is that all the people that come back to you and tell you, thank you, dude. So when you understand what you're capable of, you always want to progress. You're always going to do more. So for me, it's all about creating more consistent content bringing out more value to the people, serving my already customers, and then take things slowly. Like I have a bigger vision that will last like 30, 40 years. I want to create something, a legacy behind it. So I'm not looking at the next 6 months. I'm looking at the next 10 years. And then the next 10 years, for me at least, I know that I'll have a lot of road bumps and I'll do a lot of mistakes in the way, but they're looking bright because I want to help, I want to educate, and I want to help other people grow their businesses.
Fantastic. Wow. You've rehearsed this. You've rehearsed this.
No.
Hey, listen, if people wanted to reach out to you, find more about what you're up to, your agency, you specifically, maybe wanted to engage you for some consulting, how can people get in contact with you? For anyone that's listening today, what's the best way to follow you up?
So overall, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Dimitris.Skiadas, Dimitris.Skiadas on Instagram. And you can visit trustthebeard.co, where we have, this is more about the agency and how to lead people. We can say a lot, but I don't want to. It was such a fantastic time with you, brother. That honestly, it's not about people finding more about me. Like I enjoyed it so much, and I've done quite a handful of interviews, and I can honestly say that this was my favorite one.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, that's the difference between having an interview and just having a discussion. And, it's fantastic. And I really appreciate being able to catch up with you and really just dive into what you've been up to, because we haven't spoken for a long time. I haven't seen your face for a long time. So, it's an honor, and thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you, brother. My pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Staying on Point. Tune in with us on our next episode as we dive in, interviewing other fantastic guests, finding out exactly what makes them tick and how they've achieved their success.